Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our /JustNoMil. In today's episode, MIL exhibiting dangerous behavior with LO. New update. My boyfriend removed MIL's access to his bank account and all hell broke loose. Update to MIL pre-canceling for my son's first birthday. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. MIL exhibiting dangerous behavior with LO. TW. Mentions of possible grooming behavior. I apologize for the length of this post. Thank you for reading. Backstory. I have been with my husband for 12 years, married for almost 6. My in-laws have never had an interest in having a relationship with me or my husband since we've been together and have exhibited some racist behavior towards me. Now to current events. We now have 2 kids, and ever since we had our first, who is now 2, my MIL seems to have an extreme interest in being involved in his every move, but with no interest in even seeing her own son. My husband leaves for work about half the month, and she used to hound me to see him constantly when he is away. Again, my in-laws have no interest in anything with my husband or I, but want full access to our kids. For the past year, I have been noticing every time my MIL is around that my son wants absolutely nothing to do with me. When on a normal basis he is attached to me at the hip. He is always aware of where I am in a room / making sure I'm close, generally. But when she is around, I've noticed she always tries to take him to another room away from everyone or outside. Lately, I have also noticed she is whispering to him often, and he has even mentioned that grandma tells him secrets, but will not disclose what any of them are. Additionally, I gave birth to a daughter nearly 7 months ago and have noticed MIL constantly gets him presents but never anything for my daughter. Now again, I have considered that she just so badly wants to be a grandparent, but she's completely ignored our second child and has even mentioned that she can't bond with her. On Thanksgiving, my husband overheard MIL whispering to LO to always choose daddy over mommy. And when it was addressed, she would not admit to doing it, nor did she apologize. The red flags appeared for me when I noticed isolation, gift giving, and secrets. But even more, when we had an innocent day at the zoo with MIL and my parents, and we got home and LO started bawling nonstop, saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, I need a hug," between tears and barely leaving any room for breathing. I was concerned because it came off like he felt he wasn't allowed to be with me, with the way he acted after. That day I had noticed she had been whispering to him while we were at the zoo. So all in all, my husband is aware of this behavior and is uncomfortable as well, but anytime he addresses anything he is uncomfortable with or holds a boundary he is hit with, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or "I don't remember doing that," and it ends up with the behavior coming back 2 weeks later. I'm at a loss of how to handle it. Any advice? Edit. I just wanted to thank you all for your comments. I have read all of them. I also wanted to add some things I left out. I also noticed it's locked. We have had very low contact with MIL for most of the year. I had noticed the behavior. I have not ever let her come over while my husband has been gone for work. Additionally, I have caught her whispering, and she always makes sure to say very innocent things, like pretending to voice animals' thoughts at the zoo when I'm around, so I gaslit myself into thinking that's what was happening. But after my son's breakdown, I got very concerned, and we have not seen her since. My husband agrees that if we do see her again, she won't be alone with him ever, and the behavior will be addressed again anyway. I will be looking into a child therapist, and I am so sad that this has hurt him in any way and feel so terrible that I didn't notice sooner. There have been other things that have concerned me and my family members about her previously. My son would even be mean to my mother if my MIL was around, so she for sure has to be saying terrible things to him. Also, for those wondering why we continued to see them after they had no interest in a relationship with my husband or me, they have very vaguely apologized for that, and we have noticed now in hindsight how empty these apologies were. I posted this also so that I could show my husband that even if we seem to be overreacting, it's for good reason. Also, for those that have said to leave my husband if he didn't agree to keep this boundary, I have definitely told him this when I noticed this whole pattern. She is causing trauma to your son. Please stop the visits. She sounds crazy. Do not allow access to your son. I am a stranger on the internet and I am crying for your son. Immediate no contact for you and the children, at least. I would also look into counseling for your son. Whatever the hell she's been whispering to him has been traumatic for him. 1,000 times this. Oh boy, the whispering stops. It needs to stop, or she can't see the kids. Imo, the one time your husband caught what she was saying was enough to cut her off right then and there. The only thing to do here is to stop visits. This is obviously causing emotional distress to your child and your family as a whole. She needs to be cut off from any access to the children, even supervised. New update. My boyfriend removed MIL's access to his bank account and all hell broke loose. About our situation, I've written a lot already, and thank you for all the responses, opinions, and support. My boyfriend, 22, and I, 22, have been living on our own for almost 2 years now, modestly but finding beauty in the small things. We're happy and get along great with everyone except his mother. We're no contact, and see, with her, and you can read more about the reasons in my previous posts. During the holidays, we visited all close relatives, including MIL's parents, my boyfriend's grandparents, with whom we get along excellently. However, they shared bad news with us. During our NC period, MIL had a scare with a serious illness, but she got test results, and everything seems fine. We are not really sure about that. We didn't know anything about this, but I found out that she was speaking very poorly and judgmentally about me, blaming me for the entire situation. Honestly, the news deeply affected me, and I know it hurt my boyfriend too. We're both worried. I attend psychotherapy sessions and try to process the guilt she instilled in me over the 3 years, and this feeling is still escalating. Now I feel guilty for influencing their relationship, and I know she'll twist the situation again to make herself the victim, saying I took her son when she needed him the most. MIL was very toxic, still behaves that way, still hates me, and still can't forgive her son for leaving, even though he would have left to study whether single or in a relationship, but she still blames only me for everything, and I'm still guilty for the situation with my boyfriend's bank account. I'm simply torn. I don't know how to feel. At the same time, I worry about her health, and it makes me think that our relationship should be good because I'm afraid my boyfriend might regret this period someday. At the same time, his grandfather encourages us to make the first move, even though we've already tried. I don't want MIL to be unhappy either, and maybe she doesn't know how to make the first move, but at the same time, I want to protect us from her toxic behavior. Recently, I found out she blocked me for no reason. The reason is probably in her head, as nothing happened between us, since we're in C, to justify such an action. Consequently, I feel lost, blamed for the son's departure. But when I try to take responsibility and work on understanding each other, she hates me. I just don't know what to do. Even though we're in C, it stresses me out, and MIL lives rent-free in my head. Should we make the first move, and how? Should I encourage my boyfriend to call her and ask about her health? Edit. Thank you all for your opinions and comments. I think it's important to add that my boyfriend knows this is his decision. We both understand that my relationship with her and his relationship with her are not one and the same. Each of us has our own and has the right to do/say what we want in it. And C was his decision, and I will certainly continue to respect his wishes regarding his relationship with his mother. I'm not worried about what he will do because I will support him. I'm concerned about my relationship with her and the stress her behavior causes me. Unfortunately, he is also confused and very affected. Of course, I care deeply about that too. No, there's the thing. I wouldn't put it past MIL to lie or exaggerate her issue in order to better her case as the victim. Second, if you keep being the bigger person with this woman, she never grow. Search Christmas cancer on here. Narcissistic and controlling, just knows use health scares all the time. Drop the rope. Stop trying with this toxic woman. This is best for your BF, too, because it's normal and healthy for him to grow up, move out, get on with his independent adult life, and she is trying to prevent that. So don't help her by trying to fix the unfixable. Just be done. She's not going to have an epiphany or change her ways. It's really unfortunate for her that she couldn't behave properly and now doesn't have a relationship with either of you. Seems like the consequences of her actions have caught up with her nicely. Why ruin a great thing? Go live your best life with your man, girl. Update to MIL pre-canceling for my son's first birthday. So I posted here not long ago saying my MIL seemed like she was pre-canceling for my son's first birthday. She actually showed up, but of course she had to complicate things first. A few days ago my husband told me they were going to come early, and when I asked how early he said he assumed it was an hour before party start time but wasn't sure. I asked him to find out because I set the time based on kids' nap schedule in an attempt to have them both napped first and give me time to set up, and that an hour early was too early. They said they wanted to come early to set up a bounce house for the kids, but they don't need an hour to do that, and I'm sure they were hoping to be there early and give the kids gifts and leave before everyone got there so they wouldn't have to socialize or see their other son or grandchildren. I told my husband 10 to 15 minutes early is fine, but he never called to tell them. He finally called them 2 hours before the party start time to ask them to leave the driveway open for my grandma, and they said they were going to head over soon. I held my ground and said I wasn't okay with that. The kids were asleep, and I had to set up and finish getting everything together. He seemed annoyed about it, but told them to come at the scheduled time. His Nana didn't show, and they also mentioned that her primary care physician accused them of elder abuse. But they showed up and stayed longer than I expected. I'm glad they were there for their son and grandchildren and showed up for once. I just don't get why it has to be so complicated. It's our child's party that we're hosting, and we set the time for. Can you not just show up without having to turn me into the boundary enforcing bad guy? But overall great party, and my little one was showered with love. Your husband almost made this a whole thing by being too chicken to tell them what times work. I'm sure he thinks that holding boundaries is tough, but delaying/avoiding articulating them often makes things worse for all involved. He doesn't think the boundaries are fair. I'm concerned about the elder abuse of Nana. What have they been accused of? I agree that it's annoying they can't just stick with the time they were invited. I get ragey when people can't respect that I don't want to be tripping over them while getting ready for a party or even just for dinner. Oh, and for God's sake, stay out of my kitchen. My MIL did this recently. Said she couldn't make party time because she had to work, but that she would make it work. No details on how. Turns out she showed up while we were out earlier in the day. So when we got home, so was already waiting. Toddlers were supposed to nap as soon as we got home, and of course, toddlers aren't going to nap when grandma shows up. It threw my whole afternoon off, and we had 2 sleep-deprived kids to manage all afternoon, had to move up party time, just invited a few family members so it was easy to call and ask others if they could come a bit earlier, so we could try to get kids to nap afterwards instead. They didn't. MIL ended up staying until what would have been an hour into the scheduled party time, so she could have made the original time. It would have just been for an hour. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.